settle, get rid of this lazy.
Well, I'm hoping you come to Dominica to make that a reality, Johnny. Yes? No, you're laughing. I put it back at you. Come to Dominica and make it happen if that's what you want. 136. So don't be pointing fingers at Dominicans. You're Dominican. Come and make it happen, brother. Yes, earlier, of course, the report there, if you want to hear it again, it was from Ronaldo, Mrs. Ronaldo Luke Pascal, okay? I see her smiling. Mrs. Ronaldo Luke Pascal. Let's listen to that report there. Serial killer was on the loose. Gravity.
According to the facts of the matters, Henry Raphael, like Moses, was living as a vagrant in Roseau at the time of his death. On Sunday, April 17, 2011, at about 6:30 a.m., Raphael's body was discovered at the Newtown bus stop on Victoria Street. Police officers responding to the report found the lifeless body in a pool of blood and partially covered. A large stone with blood was also found close to the deceased's head. The case remained unsolved until 6 years later when Moses was arrested for another murder. During the investigation, he confessed to officers, stating that the deceased had previously assaulted him, so he struck him whilst he was asleep. And the court also heard that on May 28, 2017, Moses stabbed Fabian Kennedy George whilst he was asleep in an empty lot in Roseau. George managed to seek help at a nearby residence, but later died at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital from severe abdominal hemorrhage. Moses later admitted to stabbing George, claiming that the deceased had stole his drugs and money. A psychiatric report by consultant psychiatrist Dr. Nadia Wallace stated that Moses had a history of drug abuse from a young age. However, she found no signs of psychosis and determined that he was mentally fit to plead. She also assessed that he was very unlikely to reoffend. A social inquiry report, on the other hand, detailed Moses' troubled upbringing. He showed no remorse for Raphael's killing, but expressed remorse for George's death. In sentencing for the murder of Henry Raphael, Justice Shigella McDowell found that the most appropriate sentence for this case was a determinate sentence. She established a starting point of 20 years. The sentence was increased to 31 years, 6 months for aggravating factors including premeditation and the vulnerability of the victim. Mitigating factors such as procedural delays, Moses' assistance to the police, and his guilty plea brought the final sentence to 20 years and 4 months for the murder of Raphael. When sentencing Moses for the murder of Fabian Kennedy George, Justice McDowell ruled that the circumstances did not justify the death penalty or detention at the court's pleasure. But she noted that the seriousness of the offense placed it in the category of a whole life sentence. However, because of his guilty plea, this sentence could not be imposed and a starting point of 40 years was established. Describing Moses as a callous and vengeful individual who attacks his victims whilst they are asleep, the judge increased the sentence to 45 years for the aggravating factors. Mitigating factors and time spent on remand of 8 years, 8 months, and 25 days lowered the sentence to 32 years, 3 months, and 25 days in prison. The judge further ruled that both sentences will run concurrently, noting that Moses, who is 52 years, would effectively be required to serve more than a life sentence in prison if the sentences were imposed consecutively. Consequently, he will serve a term of imprisonment of 32 years, 3 months, and 25 days. Moses is also charged with the June 2017 murder of Anderson Andy Carbon.
Wow. Again, this report by freelance journalist Ronaldo Luke Pascal, not Prevo, Pascal, okay? 141. We're taking your phone calls. It's an open line. We're still monitoring the issue there in Dubash. As soon as we get more information, we'll share with you, okay? Hello, good afternoon. Are you there? Yes.
Yes, my brother, I'm here. Good afternoon to
My
you.
brother, how you doing? How you doing? Yes.
Matt, I'm doing all right, man. I'm listening, but it's sad to hear what's taking place in the country. The thing you just played there is a sad case. A destitute man got himself in a problem like that. But I mean, some things just gonna happen like that because of the situation that people live in. But Matt, you know what I want to address? You just played something and say the SEIA is available for the public viewing. Matt, I smell a bamboozle, Matt. Just like the brethren that called you from Wadadley a while ago. Matt, here's what I'm going to say. And these are my words, okay? Because you say it's an open line. And with the absence of facts, Matt, we are left to speculate. Matt, you know what I think happened? These guys had no intention of showing the people the dirty work that they are doing. But because of the pressure that's brought on here lately, they went and they twisted some people's arms and make them sign a paper. I don't have to see. They're making it available because it's in their favor, man. And they did some crookery to fool the people, tug at their heart and their emotions, and they're going to say, well, it was done by the government, the planning board, it's this and that and everything. Man, we know how the country operates. Everybody's scared. Everybody would do anything to keep their job, man. They just gave up their principles, their morals, and everything. I'm not saying that people don't have to survive and people don't have a life, man. But there comes a time as an individual, Matthias, I know you. I don't, Matt, I never met you, but I know you, Matt. You already show the people you are. You have done things to prove yourself in the society. You would not give up your morals for certain things. You will not give up yourself or sell your soul to the devil for certain things. So I can say what I'm saying now, Matt. I'm a good reader of people. Individuals who do something, man, I have my bills to pay. But you give your country away for a lifetime of misery, for a life of poison. Matt, I keep telling you, it's a poison pill they're giving our people because when they done, water poison, marine life poison, everything poison on your life becomes worse than it is. You played a gentleman yesterday, one of the family members who owned that land. That man was bamboozled. They took his land from him dirt cheap under false pretense. He didn't say it like that, but he told you right out. He didn't know that's what they were going to do, man, because of lack of education. And when people don't go to the right people, when they're making deals and don't get paper on the up and up with a lawyer or whatever, it would have cost him some money. But he would have hold on to his land, and his people would not be in the condition that they are today. Our life in Dominica is going to be worse than what it is 50 years past. If nobody sees it, nobody will never understand what I'm telling you because our people tend to wait and see. We don't look at things in the future, man. God give a man a brain, okay? And I could listen to somebody speaking to me, I watch your face, and I could tell if you're a liar because certain things in your body language give you away. Your eyes speaks to me, your body language speaks to me. And this poison that we have called leadership, man, don't speak to me in that manner. These guys mean the people know who no good, man, is harm. They all bring to Dominica. They're going to grind up the dirt. They're going to take away what's good out of it for their own use. And they're going to leave the garbage for Dominicans to clean up. Somebody told you they don't know what they do with the soil. They took all the soil that they're digging off a day, boy, and leaving it on the banks of the river, man. When it rains, what do you think is going to happen? All the byproduct, all the sand, the heavy load of poison. Because when you mine what you want. And the rest is not distributed like nature does it, man. Nature has a way of working, It does things in balance. Look at your body. It operates in balance. The earth do the same thing. The plant does the same thing. It takes what it wants from the soil and what it don't want, it don't take. Certain plants take certain material out of the ground and certain plants leave the rest so you could have a variety, man. God speaks to you in many ways, but many people, God will take care of it. God speaks to you every day. Every day you step up and you look at where you're going. God talking to you because if you in your heart believe in God and you have a moral compass, you will understand God speaks to you. You don't need to wait on him. He's always there with you, Matt. I'm listening, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Again, the numbers are 449-309-596. Just having an open line until the next few minutes. Are you there, caller? Yes? Uh-huh. Caller. Caller. Nobody there. Let's try another call. Are you there, caller? Hello.
Matt, yeah, hello, that's me, Matt.
Yes, I.
So, Matt, gravity is still alive, Matt. I cannot believe that. Matt,
Gravity is in the prison, almost blind. He's still there.
yeah, but Matt is even better for him. Matt, gravity going to stay 30 years in jail and on tax money, have to feed him, give him 3 meals a day, and you have a bed to rest. Gravity has done so much crime, Matt. Matt, gravity is going in my brother's house and sleep and throw my brother out, of his own house. I go there early morning, Matt, with a big on spray. At 6 in the morning, Matt, gravity inside my brother's house, and I spray gravity's big on and send stones behind him and run him out of my brother's house, Matt. Gravity is still alive, Matt. Gravity is lucky to be alive. This man is no use to the world. Gravity going and sit down 30 years in jail and taxpayers' money have to feed him, give him 3 meals a day. Gravity going to enjoy that.
So what do you want him to do with the man? You're saying he should stay, he's in the jail taking or eating taxpayers' money. What do you expect him to do? What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do with him?
This man just bring me any water and let us some shot. It's me, sir.
Johnny. Anyway, let's continue that conversation. 148. Hello. Let the creator deal with gravity, man. Hello. Yes. Talk to me. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Berger, fireman touching me. Mr. Berger, me tell you something a little bit,
Talk to me.
You say something and I love what you say. I love you no matter what. Mr. Berger, you know that workers have a raffle in the transport, right? You know that fireman does. Fireman does take part in the raffle. You know fireman does take part in the raffle.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I don't know about it. If that's the case, that's good. I say I don't know about that, but
and you not before you go. I know that you got to but yeah, that you know the lady yesterday. Tell her. I was on number. She come to call and talk to her. Tell her I share with that. My father was one of the best man in Rivernica. But I don't have no brother, I don't have no father, I don't have no sister, but my father alone was one of the best man. Follow who he was. He wasn't from Rivernica. He was a man from the country. And me, I was a children for I laugh at my but tell her, I cannot wash, I cannot cook, I cannot do nothing. But all them doctors and scientists say they have better and send them to me. Not them can't do nothing for them.
But you know what? When you call, make a little sense. Let's have a little interaction for Rivernica. Let's have a little because up to now I didn't understand what you said. Tell her what? What do you want me to send? What's the message you want me to send to her?
From workers. So tell her, my time only do like you hear me. And after that, I never go to come and cut your program.
No, but you're insulting somebody that I don't think that you had to be insulted. What your choice is a relationship, my brother, is your choice. But don't be coming there and preaching prejudicial stuff. I don't appreciate that. Okay. All right, so we can continue to talk, but just be respectful to others, okay? What I won't like for you, I won't like it for others, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you, okay? Rivernica, all right? So we can have a conversation we can, but please be respectful to others. That's my simple advice to you, okay? Thank you. Just make a little sense when you call, And this personal attacks doesn't make sense. Hello, talk to me, yeah? Uh-huh.
Matt,
Yes, Marlon, yes.
Is not attack from here. I agree and disagree. The guy said about gravity shouldn't be eating our tax money. But me being working in the court and I know better what he wants them to do. Listen to that good. Gravity in prison good. What he want them to do for not eating his tax money to put gravity outside and then he go and beg and then he start to kill again and whatever it is still because I never know in my life for gravity to be doing that. Now I get to know. So leave gravity, Matt. Bear in mind, in prison, because people tell me when they're in prison, they're bathing, they're eating, they're happy. When they're outside, they're begging and they're causing trouble. So with respect to you, my brother, right, leave Gravity in prison. Let him stay there. He'll be more happy eating and whatever it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Marlon says leave Gravity. Is okay?
Matt,
Yes, sir.
Dominicans who live abroad cannot just leave and come down to Dominica to sort out things that are happening in Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
The government is paying those who come down and vote. That is off the expense of Dominica, money that should be doing work for Dominicans. So don't expect people to just leave their job and come and sort problems in Dominica out. We are doing enough by sponsoring this and sponsoring that. Thank you very much. Matt, you should get rid of all these damn stupid people you put in on them show there, you know. These people doesn't make sense to me.
You have to respect each other's views, my brother. That's what it is. It might not be making sense to you, but give them a little chance to express themselves, okay? 152, hello, talk to me, yes? Uh-huh.
Yes, my brother.
How are you doing, brother? How are you?
Well, they didn't buy me, and I was just observing things.
Okay.
You understand?
How are you?
But I just want to talk to those in authorities, especially when you see the tourist ship is there, check. That sign they have by people's back there. I mean, it's a good thing, the sign. But the sign is too low to tell you if it's to go left or go right, the arrow. We're not seeing it. There's a tent on the side of gallery. The police officer is sitting down there. And then the custom security is there. We have to change that. Okay? We're going to stop them from sitting down where they're sitting down there. And we're going to bring them higher up where the railing must be there. And on that little platform there, you will put the tent. But we need a police officer there from morning till the boat go. So in other words, if you have 3 different shifts, you have 3 different police. Then we can control the traffic going down by the market there. But you cannot have that nonsense going on. Why do you have people going down to the market area? You have transport still parking on the left side and on the right side of the road. Then you have buses in the end by the market putting people down and the road block a little. Nonsense. I say nonsense. Total nonsense. We want no not winner. I want no transport to be parking there when there is a tourist ship. So the transport can go slowly, you know. And then there's a jam. Everybody has to go up by Macmillan now. Why you cannot go straight through? And you have the police on the side by Nasib Old House where they have the little music and thing there. Simple thing, the traffic going to flow. But you have people going left, right, wrong the roads. You know, they're messing up their timing and everything with your planning. So let us work on that. Those in authority, Dennis Charles, so what is your name? And come and watch the situation, man, when there's a tourist ship. Come and see the security guard sitting down and the police, they be lecturing whatever, and transport doing nonsense at the top when they will go lower down by the ferry terminal. You cannot have all those buses parked and rental parked on the road, all in the corner by Isa, and then you're saying everything is flowing properly. No! We need the police there again to clear that area because the people and them, I don't know if you have to make them go in the market now when they come in and park by the market area. No transport going up, so they come out in the little gate when they get their passengers. But you cannot have the city congested like that through a little boat and a little thing. We can put that out. And when now the boats go, if it's the ferry or if it's the carry or the quarry or what big boat that there, when they go, why you all are not taking out the signs? Especially by the roundabout. You have the sign right in the road, the kind of way. Unless somebody don't get injured on the signs you always put, whether queer festival, whether festival, no light on top of it. I mean, let's get together. You're going to put somebody responsible for when you block the road down by Fresh Market. They're going to take out the sign, put it properly on the sidewalk so the elderly can walk.
I'll tell you what, maybe you should make that report to the police, the tourism police, and give that instructions to them, okay? Fine advice. 156, hello, talk to me, yes.
After map, to continue where that color left up from, on the bayfront, the people that parking, taking a whole, there's a parking area on the bayfront, but there are people that are parking in the lane heading north. So that means that'll be the left lane and taking that whole left lane for parking just to go to the supermarket and stuff. The police need to check that too. They're stopping people for lights, they're stopping people for license, they're stopping people for different things that they think people complaining about. But at the same time, that's a complaint that they need to deal with.
You know, sometimes you're making the point, and I just remembered something that I had to bring up. Last week, Saturday, I think, Sunday, I went to the funeral of Delba's mom. And you know, a lot of traffic and persons will have to pack from one way or the other. When I came out, I saw the police. They were there, in the same area they're giving tickets. Issued so many tickets. I'm saying, why? You know the traffic situation, don't you? Can't you just use some common sense?
No, discretion. But at the same time now, the front now that have 2 lanes of traffic, you have the lane heading northbound, which is the left lane, is taken over by people that parking just to go to the supermarket. And the police would play a blind eye to that. There are other streets now where vehicles parking all on the sidewalk and not allowing for pedestrians to walk safely. They're doing nothing about that. There's a lot of stuff that the police need to be doing that they're not doing. As a matter of fact, I was stopped about a week ago for having extra lights. I need lights because there are a lot of streets without lights. And when I go into the country, I need lights. But they say, no, these are additional lights. But I want to go to the traffic department to find out if there is a law for having these extra lights for you to see. Because Dominica is not a place everywhere is littered.
But again, Mervyn, I just want to you use the right word discretion. Sometimes they have to use their discretion,
Exactly. That's not discretion to come and give a whole lot of people and tickets at a funeral when you have other hindrances in the traffic that you're paying no attention to. Matt, I'm going to anyway. I'm not going to say that. Anyway, no sir. Bye bye.
Thank you. Even the caretaker of the Marigot constituency, Mr. Caressa, was pretty upset. I mean, why does that make sense? Some people try to get a little parking space to go to a funeral, and tickets when you come out of the funeral service, a lot of tickets. Just doing what? What are you guys trying to prove here? 4493095. I knew I had to say something about it because it was just a lack of discretion on the police officer's part. I support the police, but sometimes you have to use your discretion, huh? Hello, 2:00. Talk to me.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Yes. Good afternoon.
That one is for St. Joseph today, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I remember clearly, Matto.
Mm-hmm.
When I was approaching 19 years in St. Joseph, about 18 years, it was my first time to vote.
Mm-hmm.
But all during that, Eugenia Charles looking invincible. Britain, it looked impossible that Freedom Party going to lose that election. Anyway, Eugenia Charles resigned or she retired. And then somebody else take over. But Matt, sometimes when you look at people, you will never make a change. You have to see it to your own benefit as a child at that time. One day, in the school as they coming out in school. I wanted to do the school to have restroom, but at that time nobody could not go in the restroom. We always know ITMS that restroom closed. So I in the bush doing my thing, having a happy life. But when I look up, I see right between a young girl doing her same thing. From that moment, I take on my own, Matt. I don't look at a family, even though they did not give me a plate of food because of my allegiance to a political party. Matt, that's Lyndon George talking, they'll tell you. Matt, I start campaigning. I don't think of nobody else. And I can tell you what I see Roosevelt Kerry doing to Dominicans. It is hell compared to how Freedom Party acted in the last 5 years. I would never be in Dominica looking to my left, looking to my right. All what I would be saying to my personal self is putting my effort to see how many people I can get, how much noise I can make within my own self to change souls. My Dominicans don't have to look overseas for people. Look at your situation. Look at how your children going to fare in the next future. Look at what Roosevelt carried have us under a ban. Under Eugenia Charles, we had CARICOM, we had all kinds of things to bring us together. Today, Dominica is in a land by itself. The people need to stop looking at one another and look at your own benefit and the generation of your generation to come. Not this man is taking and Dominica is going to be poor and Scary going to leave them crying. Matter, I giving you one last story to see how ignorant we are in politics. 2002, I see two guys campaigning. One watch another guy. A laborite watch one man and tell him, I slept with your wife. And I stand up there, I am amazed. And the man wife there, the man calling his wife and saying, here is a laborite saying he slept with you. Today, what happened to them, Matt? Go for them under the ground. So we cannot make war. We have to come together. It's only the wealthy benefiting. We need to start to think. We need to open our mind, Dominica. Some things I hear on the radio. My boy, we too illiterate, but we need to get brighter than that. We need to up our conversation. We need to show we are a people that love each other and stop hating people for politicians. It don't work in the future. It only works for them. God bless Dominica. Thank you.
We had a very, very interesting program yesterday. I just want to remind the farmers up there in the Woodford Hill Northeast Agricultural Region that the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and the Green Economy wishes to inform the public again that the lethal yellowing disease, LYD, a highly destructive disease of coconut and ornamental plants, has been confirmed in the coconut trees with the community of Woodford Hill Northeast Agricultural Region. So please, farmers, take note. This is a deadly disease. We might just end up losing all our coconut trees. So please follow the guidelines of the Ministry of Agriculture. As the lethal yellowing disease is known to cause rapid decline and the death of coconut palms and has resulted in major economic losses in the several Caribbean countries, namely Jamaica, St. Kitts, Guadeloupe. Residents of Woodford Hill are kindly asked to cooperate with officers of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit and the Forestry Division during this exercise. At this time, these actions are necessary, measures that have been successfully used internationally to contain the lethal yellowing disease at this stage. Following ground surveillance in the lab confirmation, Palm Tree Woodford Hill, the Calabishi area has been designated as a red zone, infected zone, to facilitate emergency containment measures. to prevent the further spread of this disease and protect Dominica's coconut industry. The ministry will begin the removal and safe destruction of infected coconut trees and high-risk palm within the affected areas. Just so that I would reiterate this message for the farmers in the Woodfordell Northeast region. Please pay attention to the agricultural officials. When we come back, Dominica, we're going to take a break and we'll be talking to the leader of the United Progressive Party, Mr. Joshua Francis. Coming back after this.
At Q95, we are family. Join your family. You can send emails, request songs, name your top 10 songs of the week, and even tell us the music that you want to hear. Stay on top of the latest news and entertainment. Hear it first as it happens. Stay in touch. Call our sales office at 767-448-5822 or call our on-air live talk shows at 767-449-3095, 3096, and 3097. Stay right on Q. Keep it locked. Q95.
Ooh, oh, oh, KFC. Ooh, oh, KFC. Looking for some place to go. Emails for so. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC, it's the place to be, made for you and me. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunglass juices, Thomas Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
All you, I just made goal winning Roseau again. Same place outside Flossie's. I tried to dock in, but you had time. Well, story starts again. Million, lot of my power with Gaza. Fella, I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossie's, and you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I'm busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? About my pocket boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. To pack I expect him, why? But it could my pepper palais. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Flossie's, right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Flossie's can't do it to you.
Good afternoon, Dominica. Good afternoon. And welcome to the Talk on the Block. The second hour with Mr. Joshua Francis. The leader of the United Progressive Party. Joshua Francis, good afternoon to you. It's been some time.
Yes, Matt.
Everything good?
Everything is okay.
Everything good. The last time I saw you, at Dubash.
Dubash, that is correct. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to your listeners.
You stop speaking the Creole now?
More Basa, stop Pali Creole.
Oh, wow.
You're working on yours?
Yes. Still.
You're still.
All right. So what's happening? How do you paint the picture of the country right now? Dominic, at what stage at this time?
Well, when you look at Dominica, you look at it from different perspectives. You look at it from an economic, financial perspective. You look at it from a governance perspective. You look at it from a spiritual perspective. And generally, just look at it from a well-being perspective. Of course, we are very grateful to have a relatively very, very peaceful nation. We wake up in the morning without any fear that a bomb is going to descend on our homes. We can still walk our streets without fear that we may get shot. So those are blessings. And generally, we are still kind to each other. We still share and care for our neighbors. And those are intangibles. And there are no figures you can place to the value when it comes to loving and caring for others. So we are blessed. But from an economic point of view, the country continues to be in a state of anemia. The average Dominican is still struggling. The last time I came here, I told you about the struggles that ordinary Dominicans have. I think since then, things have gotten worse and may get worse in view of global
others,
issues.
You and others, you have described, of course, the economy as one that's dwindling. But it appears on the other side that a lot of people are seeing the CO mood. What's going on?
Yeah.
We see two stories.
Well, it would be good for a psychologist to explain to us why is it that people who struggle financially seem to like to see war. Is it that this is part of the new generation? People just like to see war. Is it part of therapy? Is it a relief that people get when they're frustrated?
Is it a dependency syndrome are we experiencing?
It could be. I mean, that is something that requires a psychologist to analyze. Why is it?
While you're in pain, you see war.
Yeah, well,
and if you see who's CEOing, you would be surprised, if you will, and say, I thought this guy was struggling. Look at him, just maybe it's a way of freeing up. They say.
Yeah, well, I guess you're looking at it from an economic point of view as to if people are struggling so much, where do they get the money to buy tickets to go and see war, change your clothes? For every party or every fete, they have new clothes, new wigs, new outfits. Yeah, we cannot use that as a yardstick to determine the quality of people's purse and people's bank accounts. Somehow people find money to recreate and to have leisure. In some cases, people actually take loans to buy clothes to go and party. So that's not how we measure the wealth of a nation's economy. There are other ways we look at it. We continue to struggle with high prices for goods on the shelf.
Inflation.
Yeah, and it's a global phenomena, but most nations have found a way to mitigate inflation. We have not seen any practical macroeconomic policy being implemented by this government to alleviate the situation and to ease up the pressure on people's pockets. The salaries are not going up, wages are not going up, but not enough if they did go up in certain areas within the private sector to ease people, to let people feel that they're going places. But average people in Dominica continue to find it very difficult to acquire a portion of land and to build without having to take a monstrous mortgage and be saddled with a mortgage for the next 30 years. And that is one of the reasons why so many young people have lost faith in Dominica. They are ready to go everywhere else except Dominica because their dreams somehow are not being realized in Dominica. When people find a job, the salary, basically just for transportation, CO, as you say, put a little penny on the side, but nothing significant to cause them to open a small business, to acquire land and to build. Those who are more fortunate, those who have inheritance, they're in a better position. They have a better startup. But as they say, poor people's children are finding it more and more difficult to enjoy Dominica from a financial perspective. But as I said, Matt, in spite of our financial struggles, we have a lot to thank God for.
But the question is like everybody's asking. So just for example, that this government is no more. Do you think that will make a difference?
Well, yes. At the core of the problem is the governance, and I was heading to that in that direction. The core of the problems in Dominica really would be grounded in the type of governance that we have. It's a maladministration. It has been there for the last 25 years, and it is causing the country to deteriorate further, not only from a financial point of view, from a spiritual point of view, a moral point of view, a social point of view. There are so many things in Dominica where we have so many areas where we have regressed. And that is attributed directly to the type of governance we have had. We have had a government that has paid very little regard to transparency, to integrity. And the lack of integrity is now catching up with us. We're seeing what's happening on the geopolitical stage. Dominicans have to struggle to go to the US. We know the situation in the US visa, saga. That is as a result directly of because of the decisions or lack of decisions that this government has taken.
You spoke about the transparency of this government. I just discovered today that the Physical Planning and Development Authority, Physical Planning Act of 2020 or 2002, says that they're now making documents available for the public to, of course, review and make recommendations. It's too late. They said they're making the ESIA available for the public to see, meaning Montreal Management Consultant Government of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the quarry operations, that document will be made available. The Montreal Management Consultants, the Stonefield Concord Crusher Plant will be made available. So all of a sudden, these documents are available.
Well, yes, Matt. And
is that a part of our government trying to be transparent?
Well,
is it too late?
That's a government reacting to the pressure which have been leveled against it by environmentalists and social activists and sympathizers to the environment of Dominica. As you know, a number of patriots have stood at the Dubash site to get the government to stop this project, not temporarily, but permanently, in view of the risk involved should the project recommence. And there are still questions as to whether the planning division will remove or lift the stop order to facilitate the continuation or recommencement of the project at Dubash. There are many questions. So that's a step in the right direction. And we're hoping that infiltrates in other departments of government. There are so many questions about governance in Dominica. Matt, if we were to go into the CBI program, as you know, for many years, we have had a very dark CBI program in Dominica. Hence the reason why opposition forces had to take the government to court to disclose the nature of the contract that it has had with MMCE, the very same MMCE that right now is involved in the mining of the Dubash. The very MMCE where the shareholder allegedly owns a property at Mount Daniel, that very property that the Prime Minister continues to reside in, having to extract $64,000 allegedly from the consolidated funds of Dominica. So that MMCE has become such a staple in Dominica. It has become part of our daily language because so much power has been granted to it, yet in darkness. And that type of governance cannot possibly augur well for a country, especially a developing country where the government is the largest employer. And that is signals the problem in Dominica, because for the past 25 years, this government has not been able to create an enabling environment for the development and expansion of the private sector. And it is because of the entrepreneurs' skills and the resilience of entrepreneurs in Dominica, that's why they have been able to survive over the past 10, 15, 20 years. It's not because the government has created an environment for them to thrive and for them to expand. I continue to say, this is manifested, that situation, that problem in the government is manifested by the fact that we have a very small foreign direct investment portfolio in Dominica. The smallest significantly by far in the Eastern Caribbean. And why is that so? It is like that, Matt, because the government has failed to create an environment for the growth of businesses. It is not attractive. It has not created a country where investors on the international stage are seeking to come and do business. And the few foreigners we have here are foreigners who are in direct relationship with the government. They have been given sweetheart deals. And people have to wonder, certain projects which could be undertaken by locals have been given to foreigners. The question is why? And our suspicion is because of the sweetheart deals. Government officials can more get away with getting cutbacks, under the table, kickbacks under the table when they deal with foreigners, because at some point, man, there will be investigations, there will be forensic investigations, and those offenders will have to account for the people's money.
If you speak to a labor right today, he's going to say, well, this government has done a lot. And pointing to what is a lot is maybe a difficulty. But for him, or I've heard many labor rights say, well, this government has done so much for this country. And so what else is available?
Well, and that's the unfortunate thing. And persons who sound like that clearly are people who are not enlightened. They're in the trance, and they themselves are vulnerable simply because this government has caused dependency to expand in Dominica. So as we say, dependency syndrome. Some people feel without the government, they cannot survive. The government provides scholarships or may have provided scholarships to children in their family. Government provides NEP projects. Government provides financing for medical services when they are in need. Government officials provide some kind of social and financial support. Hence, those beneficiaries in situations like that think they are loyal to the government, and this government must stay in perpetual office in Dominica. And that is what we are trying to change. That is what we're trying to break. It's almost like a curse. And therefore, some people feel that it's not enough in our physical and political capacity to bring that necessary change in governance in Dominica. We also have to embark on a spiritual journey. We have to get the genuine pastors to pray and fast and to empower the nation for people to see the light. Because any right-thinking person would understand that Dominica's government has not done well. It doesn't take much. If you want to know how well you play football, basketball, or any other sport, you have competitions. And if you keep failing at every contest, clearly you are not the best. And if you keep failing miserably, it would show that you're not on par with the other competitors. So on that basis, we can analyze Dominica from a relative point of view. Compare Dominica to St. Lucia, to St. Kitts, to Grenada, to St. Vincent. And as it were in Dominica in the 80s and 90s to what we have right now, those countries have left us behind in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of national growth, in terms of foreign direct investment. They have left us behind. I mean, look at St. Vincent in the 80s and 90s. St. Vincent was lagging significantly behind Dominica. Now St. Vincent has overtaken Dominica. And some of the projects we're realizing right now are projects that's supposed to have been done within the first 10 years of the Labour Party reign in Dominica. Matt, we are looking at a government that is fatigued. The government and the Prime Minister almost won.
You say that, and I was just listening to a critic of the opposition sometime this week, and it says, yes, the opposition has been given. I'm talking about all the opposition, including the UPP, United Workers Party, maybe the Freedom Party, has been given a gift, but not doing enough to bring the people on their side. How do you respond to that?
Well, Matt, I don't know what is meant by not doing enough. First of all, let me say publicly that being an opposition politician in Dominica is very, very burdensome.
Are you ready to give up?
No, well, certainly not. Matt, if I had to give up, I would have given up a long time ago. I am not prepared to give up on the people of Dominica, and I'm not prepared to give up against a regime that has done a lot of wrongs to Dominicans. And some of those wrongs are not manifested, but in time, people will come to appreciate the wrongs that this government has done to the people of Dominica and for the future generation. Just within the sphere of environmental management, we have seen a government that has been irresponsible, a government that has failed to do things pursuant to the law. So when people say that the opposition is not doing enough, maybe some opposition figures could do much better, because really, Matt, for opposition to be successful in Dominica, it takes a lot of hard work, not just strategy. It takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice. The question is, the people who want the change, are they prepared to support those of us on the front line? We need finance to put fuel in our cars. We need money in our pockets to help the indigent constituents, because there are a lot of Dominicans who are living on basic income, and in some cases, no income. And when politicians like me walk into their homes, we have to find a way to assist them. Those are the vulnerable people of Dominica, and that is one of the advantages that the Dominican Labour Party has been able to enjoy. They have the leisure, they have the bag of money walking around, and therefore they're able to put their hands in their pocket or in the bag to hand over $1 to get groceries. And the reality is, when somebody is desperate and you feed that person, it's likely that person will stick with you.
I like the word reality. Now, how are you going to, you and other opposition politicians, how are you going to combat that? Though?
Well, two things, Matt. I mentioned about the spiritual part of it. I believe that those of us in the opposition who really want that change, we have to find a way to be more connected with the Almighty Father, because with Him, all things are possible. And some of the challenges we have in Dominica may be spiritual, and you cannot fight a spiritual war with flesh and blood.
You're convinced of that, spiritual?
Yes, Matt, I have no doubt. I did speak with a couple of priests about the status of governance in Dominica, and they are convinced that there is a spiritual aspect to it. And the only way we can overcome the spiritual hold on the people of Dominica is to break the curse. And for the curse to be broken, righteous people need to step up and to pray and fast and to anoint those of us who are prepared to go on the front line to fight that battle, because it's not an easy battle. It has not been easy. This is no longer ideology, Matt. This is an economic battle. You're talking about persons who have been milking the system for many years. They have enriched themselves. They are now multimillionaires.
And they don't want to let go.
And they have a group of people within their sphere, and they're not prepared to relinquish or to give up their positions. Giving up their positions would mean that they would stop milking the cow, and furthermore, they're at risk of being exposed for their corruption. They're at risk of probably having to answer to a court of law.
So they will do anything to stay in power.
They are doing everything and anything. The only thing that we have not realized in Dominica is killings, and God forbid we ever get to that point. But everything else have been part of the Labour Party machination.
It can get that bad.
It can get that bad because, again, as I told you, Matt, this is about survival. This is not about love for people anymore. Politics in Dominica has become a business where certain people, they are enticed to join the Dominica Labour Party, and they get paid. They make their demands. Pay my mortgage, pay my student loan, send my child to school. And then if you meet those conditions, I will step up. And when they step up, they become corrupt just as a head. And they find a way to use the system to enrich themselves and to deceive the people of Dominica. They go around parading like they have love in their hearts and they care about the people. They don't. Because any caring man would want to see his brother and sister become independent, not a dependent on him or her, to become independent. And that is one of the major indictments on this government. This government has failed to empower the people of Dominica financially, in spite of the physical projects that we have in the infrastructural projects. It's good that we have in the construction of the international airport, but not even that project has trickled down to the benefit of ordinary people within the very vicinity or periphery of the construction site of the international airport. And that's the truth, Matt. That's the truth. That's what we're dealing with. So to conquer the Labour Party is going to take a lot. No doubt about it.
And you don't have too much time.
We don't have too much time. I have seen an escalation or an increase in activities by members of the Dominica Labour Party, by ministers and caretakers in many constituencies in Dominica. Now, that kind of heightened activity would suggest that there may be contemplation or consideration for an election in 2026. It is not far-fetched, it's possible. After all, the Prime Minister is constitutionally empowered to dissolve the House of Parliament and to advise the President of Dominica to advise the President of Dominica to dissolve the House and to call an election at any time. And given the trend that we are taking, because things, I'm not here to preach doom and gloom, but
we're still registering voters. Of course, registration of voters have just started maybe 2 days ago.
Well, yes, we have had the recommencement of registration of voters. And of course, I want to take the opportunity to say, finally, the Electoral Commission heard the people. Well, I'm not too sure whether they listened to the Prime Minister or the people, or the Prime Minister and the people generally, because recall a few weeks ago, the Prime Minister stated publicly that he had spoken to the Electoral Commission, more so the chairman, about reinstating the SRO, permitting Dominicans to use their birth certificates and a passport size ID with an affidavit for the purpose of confirming to vote. And there it is, the commission, the Electoral Commission decided to go ahead, and now we can go and confirm to vote using the photo ID and the birth certificate together with an affidavit.
Of course, and that's a good move, though.
Well, it is a good move, but there are still many challenges. If you look at the number of applications for confirmation of voters, it's remarkably low, given that we started this thing last year.
So why are people not interested?
Well, very reason. There are a lot of discouraged Dominicans. People are struggling, and laborites themselves want to be paid to go and confirm to vote. They're seeing what they can get. That is the kind of culture that this government has developed. So
they pay them to go
in
vote?
some cases, I've had people who told me, and I'm talking about people who have supported the Dominican Labour Party for the last 25 years. They told me point blank they will only go and confirm to vote if they get paid or they are given some kind of arrangement.
That's gotten that bad.
It has gotten that bad in some constituencies more than others. So that is a challenge that we have had. But also, Matt, culturally, sometimes we like to do things last minute. So there may be a number of Dominicans who want to get confirmed to vote, but they feel there is no urgency in doing it right now. But I would tell Dominicans to go out and confirm to vote. Do not wait for last minute. And of course, Matt, we in the opposition, we have to do our work because we have been agitating for certain changes within the administration of the electoral process in Dominica. But maybe we can do far more in getting our supporters to go and get registered, one, and two, to confirm to vote. But for that to happen, we need to have physical presence in our constituencies. We need to have associations. We need helpers. And unlike the Dominican Labour Party, which can pay persons to do those sort of things, to go on the ground, to facilitate the confirmation process, we don't have that resource in the opposition.
That would keep you to a disadvantage then.
But we have been at a disadvantage. I mean, when you look at the whole process, we have been at a significant disadvantage in the electoral process in Dominica. That's what we have been fighting for, to create a level playing field. And we can realize that with this government. Just a few days ago, I was telling somebody that I recall in 2019, certain registering officers actually allowed individuals who never resided in polling districts and in the constituency to register with fake addresses or other people's addresses for the purpose of voting the Dominican Labour Party, because some registering officers are just as corrupt. And that is a problem. So while we change the law,
how do you weed them out?
Well, Matt, you don't weed out corrupt people easily, you know, and that's where it comes to character. I mean, when you have the head that is rotten and everybody's seeing the rot, and everybody is seeing the rot in departments of government, and everybody understands that certain persons are benefiting, they too want a piece of the pie. So they become corrupt too, and they facilitate the corrupt persons in exchange for a benefit. And that causes the whole system to get rotten. And I think one day the head of Dominica, and I'm not talking about the executive head, I'm talking about Dominica as a nation, will be exposed. And people will come to appreciate the decadence that Dominica has realized over the past few years. We are talking about leaders, we're talking about institutional leaders, department leaders who have gone rogue. It's all about what they can get. And they're working for themselves first and for their masters before they work for the people of Dominica. So governance is a serious issue in Dominica. And for us to get that change, we have a lot of work to do.
Let's take a break, Dominica. We're here, and of course, you can take your phone calls now, 449-3095-96. We want to ask Mr. Joshua Francis, the head of the UPP, any questions, feel free. 449-3095-96 and 97. Come back.
Manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums, Belfast Estate Limited. Over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunblast juices, Toffee snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
All you, I just meet Goldwyn in Roseau again. Same place outside Flossie's. I tried to dock in, but you had time see me. Where? Story start again. Million, lot of my power with us, huh? Saka fella, I say the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossie's, and you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? I'm my pocket the boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. Upaka respecte moi. But it can even pepper palais. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Flosses. Right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Flosses can't do it to you.
All right, I'm being told, and I think somebody just sent me a copy of that stop order. So yes, Mr. Clarence Christian, the stop order is available. Find yourself a copy, okay? If you can source it. We had a big argument yesterday. It says, no, there's no stop order. Okay, fine. But anyway, it's available. I think it's making the wrongs, my friend Clarence. So get a copy, okay? Let's continue this afternoon with Mr. Joshua Francis, yes?
Seriously, I am listening, and Josh has been on the program for a number of years, I should say, and I am hearing the same questions over and over and over and over. The same questions. Forget about the Labour Party, forget about what people are saying. Labour Party has the Dominican people's monies. It's not their money. And there was the first mistake. We make people think that Labour Party money is their money. No, it's your money. It's your tax money that the Labour Party is taking and buy you back. This is just what they're doing. And that's where we cannot sit there. They're walking around with a bag of your money. So when they are giving you and offering you money, they're not giving you their monies. No, they're not. Because all the passports monies that they have, it is somewhere in some bank somewhere in one of their family's name. The monies that they're giving you, that is your own money when you go to the store and you pay taxes. That's the money they're taking and buy you back with that. We have to explain that to the people, and let's take it from there. We don't care. You don't care about what people say and what people think, and they have the opposition have the opportunity to do this, but they're not doing enough. I've heard that a million times. Come on already. Let's get out of this merry-go-round, a washing machine syndrome on the red cycle all the time. Come on, let's get out of that and move forward. Moving forward, what are we going to do? What are your intentions? I mean, what are we going to do about electoral reform? What are we going to do about registration? Let's move forward. Let's go beyond what people have opinions.
Okay, so what is it? What is your suggestion for moving forward? What do you want? Are you recommending? I'm not hearing that in that voice. And what do you want to recommend to these opposition people? You're saying do this, do that. What are your recommendations so they can move forward? That's the question I'm asking you this afternoon. Okay, hello. Yes, are you hearing the phone? Are you there, caller? Caller.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Are you hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you very clearly.
Okay, I'm in the bush somewhere, so that's why. Josh, good afternoon to you and your listeners, man.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Lofty.
Yeah. But I have my phone listening to the conversation, and I just said I would chime in terms of one or two thoughts in terms of what is being discussed this afternoon. I heard part of what your last voice noter said in terms of what do we do from there, as it were. Matt, what do we do from here? We have a confirmation process. As flawed as some people may think it is, that is one of the process, I think, whereby the people of Dominica can get involved, need to get involved, so that at the end of the day, our choices through our vote will count. I say that to say, yesterday I was on the ground in Warner doing some groundwork, basically pressing flesh with the people up in the Warner area. And based on the sentiments received on the ground by the people, they expressed that they don't have, as we speak, a confirmation center in Warner area proper. And so that is serving as a deterrent for them to move all the way to Maho at the Mahu school to get confirmed. So I was given the task by some of the people to echo their sentiment by telling the electoral office, and I'll be writing to them in that regard as well. Warner people, they're asking for a confirmation center. Just like some sort of accommodation was made in the valley, a similar accommodation can be made for and on behalf of the people in the Warner area so that they can exercise that right by getting confirmed to be on that list. Another situation that I found on the ground is that there's this discontent. There's this lack of interest in the process of elections and moving forward. The Dominican Labour Party have stolen elections, and I can say that because I have been witness to it, I've been privy to it, in terms of people getting packages after they are voted. So I'm speaking truth to power now. And as a result of those shenanigans, a lot of people in Dominica, and Matt, if you go on the ground, you will hear it, they have basically given up, lost confidence, as I said before, in the process by which we supposed to be electing government and removing government. And so the electoral office now, the electoral commission, should take up as a mandate to sort of infuse, inject, reignite, whatever it is, that sort of enthusiasm in the people in the electorate as to gaining confidence again in the process. And so I am just here as a mouthpiece this afternoon, asking, beseeching on behalf of the number of Dominicans, the electoral office / commission, you guys need to hold town hall meetings. You guys need to go around the country, have whistle stops, put these things on PA systems. Whatever you guys have to do, find it within your purview of work, your portfolio, to sort of have Dominicans again be happy or be contented in the process that they have always cherished by voting. Matt, I am telling you, based on the list so far in terms of persons who have participated in the confirmation process, it is nothing to shout about. And you hear it through the chief elections officer's voice, you hear it through other persons who are part and parcel of the process. So there lies a problem. And I am now asking Dominicans now, humbly that is, not just the electoral office, not just the commission. We now as a people can be once again so inspired to take up the mantra on ourselves and get involved in the process. Because at the end of the day, it cannot be we just throw up our hands in the air and say, so it is. In doing so, in that mindset, we will be in that perpetual mode of political and otherwise poverty that we have seen for such a long time in Dominica. And we need to get rid of that. Matt, thanks for your time. Much more to say, but
thank you. In the interest of time, yes, he has identified a few points that, of course, the electoral office have to put in place because these people from Warner just feeling disenfranchised. They need somewhere close to them so they could get registered.
Yeah, and I support Lofty's point. As you know, Lofty is the public relations officer for the United Progressive Party. What he has identified is an issue in several constituencies in Dominica where the confirmation centers are very far from certain hamlets within the communities. I have spoken with the chief elections officer about the matter. I have intended to reduce my concerns in writing, as I have done in the past when I had certain concerns about the confirmation process, to highlight that a number of Dominicans are discouraged to go and get confirmed to vote because of the distance from their homes to the confirmation centers. What I have been told by the chief elections officer is that there are mobile confirmation centers. I don't know what mode of transportation they have, but apparently they go to certain hamlets on certain days to confirm voters, and I take it that to register voters as well. But even that information is not readily available in the public, so the constituents are not aware when the mobile confirmation center would be in their hamlet. So more needs to be done. As you rightly observed and Lofty mentioned, the interest in the confirmation process has not been very exciting. People are flat-footed, people are discouraged, people are disinterested. I told you, Matt, for different reasons. Some people feel they have to benefit for them to confirm to vote. Some people say that they have to be paid. They have to have a reason. Some people say they do not want to vote. But of course, people can change. Now,
But
yes.
I'm Joshua, and somebody's just reminding me there. If the re-registration and confirmation process is not complete, they can resort to the old list.
Well, no, Matt. If after a year, based on the law, after a year, the Electoral Commission can cause an extension of time by 3 months for the purpose of confirmation.
But as you just said, people
And
seem not
if they
interested,
exceeded, if the confirmation process cutoff period comes, meaning 15 months, then the Electoral Commission cannot ask for a further extension. What the Electoral Commission would have to do is to publish the list of persons who would have confirmed and the new registered voters. Now, a person who would not have confirmed and not left out of the opportunity to vote, if there's no election after 15 months and persons who are already on the list fail to confirm to vote, they can go and get registered to vote as a new registrant. So it doesn't mean that because somebody would not have confirmed to vote, that automatically that person is deleted and denied an opportunity to register to vote.
There are several chances to get yourself on the list.
There are several chances. That's correct, Matt. You put in a very simple language for people to understand. But we are urging Dominicans not to wait for that possibility. Go out there and get confirmed to vote, especially the opposition supporters, because the Labour Party people are out there doing what they have to do. They're getting their supporters to confirm to vote and to register to vote. And we have to do the same.
Caller, are you there?
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Matt, to you and Mr. Francis.
Phil, go ahead.
I guess the frustrating point is that I heard Mr. Schoenfeld from the get-go said this whole process is a sham, and yet I hear you guys call on here or make statements related to it. Let's the electoral office got to do this and do that. I stated before, they have the advantage, right? They have 3 people from the government. What do you guys expect them to do, man? You guys expect them to do things to favor the opposition? No, it's not going to happen. The only way to get this government out, well, I'll let you guys figure it out, because I think your audience is intelligent to know the only way this government is going to be removed from office. Okay? Thank you.
And Matt, the caller is right. Some of the issues we're having with governance is grounded in the law that we have. The Constitution of Dominica, the Westminster system, gives the winner all. Ultimately, in the executive leadership of this country, the leader of the country has a lot of executive powers. And for statutory boards, we have a situation where the government is allowed to have the advantage. Unlike in the past, where people were statesmen and stateswomen, right now we have people having their political agenda first before the affairs of the nation. So with that situation, with 3 members who sympathize with the government, naturally they're going to take decisions which favors the government of Dominica. So it is for us in the opposition to devise the strategies to get this government out. And in respect to one of your previous callers, in terms of she commenting that we are recycling the same thing, same questions, same answers, it would have been nice if she would have provided certain ideas. We are amenable to take ideas and suggestions and recommendations to move forward. But repetition sometimes is important, because to get points ahead and across and to stick the point, you have to repeat yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Hello, talk to me, yes? Oh, sorry about that. Somebody's trying to call in. Again, the numbers are 449-3095. Let's try this number. Are you there, fella? Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is the one and only. Long I will call it. This is the one and only caller. Lapocal in Newton. Okay?
Okay.
And I can tell you 2019 election, before it was 12 o'clock, I called Josh and I tell Josh, you lose the election. What I've seen all over the constituency. So when some people say in 2019, you fear election, tell them, Lapocal say you. Because when I go to all the constituency voting, what I've seen happening, I've called Josh before 12 o'clock. Okay? Yeah. And Matt, again, can ask a question, just might answer that. We are in reconfirmation. Okay? And now we are in city council election. So somebody help me. I don't know if I should it. So now on the city council voting on what people going to vote, is it only list we have that people going to vote in election? Or is it it's on the reconfirmation list? People are going to vote for city council. Please answer.
I suspect it's under the old list.
That is correct. It would be under the old list. The law allows an election to be called during the confirmation process, and that includes village councils, urban council elections, and national election, that is.
Oh,
so if they
because
were to have a national election, we have to revert to the old list if the election is called during the confirmation period.
It's fact.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. But my objective here this afternoon, as in previous shows, really is to add value to the movement to cause change in Dominica. Incremental value. If you get sudden change, that's a revolution. We're not in that mindset in Dominica. So we have to keep working. We have to keep inching towards the end. It may be slow, but it's a process. You are right, Matt. Maybe we don't have much time until the next general election. But until such time, we have to make an effort to persuade as many Dominicans as possible to reject this government.
Would you be surprised if the Prime Minister, given his record, will or can call election at any time? Meaning before this reconfirmation process is over?
No, I would not be surprised. Politics is about strategy. And of course, the Prime Minister has a million reasons why he would want to stay in government. And having said that, it's about survival for him. There are speculations that should this gentleman lose his immunity, meaning he's no longer the Prime Minister, he has to answer questions on an international stage. Maybe that is true, maybe it's not true. But even here in Dominica, it's about survival because we have a leader who allegedly has enriched himself, have people fronting for him. Investigations have to take place. And by no means we should jump to conclusion to say that he is guilty or not guilty. But we have to allow due process of law to prevail, where a commission or a tribunal may have to be set up for the purpose of investigation. And when that investigation is conducted, certain persons will have to answer to the nation.
So if you become Prime Minister, say tomorrow, Joshua, would you allow a investigation?
Definitely within the shortest period of time. It cannot be right that persons have used government positions to enrich themselves, or and worse, in cases to actually take public resources. Matt, that is one of my biggest concerns, and we're going back to the CBI program as an example.
Stick a pin.
Yes.
Hello, yes.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm hearing you clear.
Good afternoon to Brother Francis. Packet from Darfur State here.
Okay.
Joshua, let me ask you a question, and I'm going to ask that question to all politicians prospectively. If a new government happens to come to Dominica in office in the future, will you all repeal the Constitution, which is a Westminster Constitution, and have our own Constitution be up? To life one, because that has to do with the same city council where ministers of government have to nominate mayor, which I am against. It's not that I couldn't take part in the city council election. Of course I could. But I am of the opinion that the Constitution is not making provision for the person or the candidate who would have the most votes to automatically become the mayor. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with certain sections of the Constitution, including the political sections where it says that a prime minister has powers to call election wherever he wants. This needs to be repealed and rearranged. I am of the opinion that the Constitution in it should needs to be repealed. Are you in favor of that, Joshua? Packet speaking. Good afternoon.
Mr. Packet, thank you for your question, and that's a very salient question. Let me just put it on record that previous governments have had constitutional review for the purpose of amending the Constitution of Dominica. We have had commissions set up to study the Constitution, and for those on the commission or board or review committee to suggest to the government what changes that should take place. But with the United Workers' Party, we had this review, and there were brilliant ideas, but it was never effectuated. Of course, the United Workers' Party term ended prematurely. And under the Dominican Labour Party, it's only last year I really heard the Prime Minister talking about amending the Constitution. The Constitution of Dominica needs to be amended. Of course, if I were to be the Prime Minister of Dominica and I have two-thirds majority in Parliament, as this Labour Party has enjoyed, but of course not acting in the best interest of Dominicans, I would cause constitutional change. Definitely, I do support a fixed term for an election in Dominica. I think it brings more stability, it brings more viability, and it lessens disruption in the governance and affairs of the people. I also believe that we have to make provisions for the diaspora. As it is right now, diasporans have certain limitations as far as presenting themselves to contest the elections or even to vote, as you are aware, Matt. Certainly, we have to change the laws concerning statutory boards. Take, for example, the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission provides for 5 members. That's something that has to be reviewed. Now we have an Election Commission Act, but the act had to be done pursuant to the Constitution of Dominica. So there are several other areas that we could change. So definitely, Packet, that's an area that would require review, further review, and to make the necessary amends. But for that to happen, we would need the majority of parliamentarians. We need 2/3. And for certain areas of the Constitution, the fundamental areas, we would need to conduct referendums. So for the people of Dominica, it is important that we study the Constitution. And of course, at some point, we'll have public consultations and people will get an opportunity to share their views, and then a new government will take it from there.
Somebody wants your opinion on this note there. Let me just read. I was denied the opportunity to reconfirm because I presented my passport that was issued in 2018, which expired in 2028. The registration officer, reason was that they are not using this passport anymore. This is so absurd. The passport was issued by a state and is still valid. Ultimately, it's a form of national ID. What's your opinion, Joshua?
No, that passport is no longer valid, and the enrollment officer would have done the right thing. It says a valid passport. As you know, we have the electronic passport, Matt. There have been several public statements about persons having the older passports to apply for the electronic passports. So for a passport to be valid, it would have to be the electronic passport.
Okay, let's see if we can play that voice note. Somebody said, I just joined, but can you entertain me now? Yes. Are you there?
Hi, Josh. Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Good afternoon. That topic, electoral reform, is a topic I'm very passionate about, and I think hopefully more Dominicans are. In listening to Lofty, I think Lofty was talking about the apathy that exists in Dominica, that people just do not care. People have been used to getting bribed to vote. People are used to getting things to vote. I think even if many people are not satisfied with the way the country is going, still many people are afraid to speak up and maybe even go out to try to convince others to vote. So, in that sense, yes, there is a tremendous amount of apathy that exists. How do you get rid of apathy? Well, apathy, many ways you can get rid of apathy. One of them is in inspiration, inspire. And I think one of the things that the opposition, I think one of the greatest tasks of the opposition right now is inspiration. How do you inspire people who just feel like there is a certain level of hopelessness, even if they put an effort? It requires commitment, it requires consistency, it requires education, even when people are not wanting to listen. And the thing about life is that you just never know when there's going to be a breakthrough. So you have to continue doing what you're doing in order to get that message across. In terms of the lady asked, it's like recycling, the washing machine aspect of it. It is understandable that people are frustrated, whether you're in Dominica or away from Dominica. People just do not want to get involved in the process anymore. However, the fact that I think there are people, and again, there's one thing that I have come to understand is that everybody's not going to fight a fight. There will be a group of people, a small group, probably just 1% of the population who will fight that fight, but fight, they will continue to fight. So I give credit to organizations like the ERC that has continued to fight. They're in the background, you're not hearing much about them, but this group of committed people have continued to fight the good fight for change in Dominica. And I do believe that the work that they've done has contributed to the changes we've seen, such as, which I think is a humongous win for the opposition, having people register with birth certificates and a picture ID and having someone verify and certify it. So if on that note, I think the opposition, and I mean all opposition forces, go on that note and really, I mean, it has to be effort, it has to be work. And again, remember, it's not everybody who fights the good fight. We see NACIO and the small group of people fighting the fight, and you see the results. When people say, oh, everybody should come out and fight, there will always be a few people who will sacrifice. When Dr. King fought for blacks, many blacks hated what he was doing. Many blacks hated. Not the whole population of black people fought. However, all the population of black people are benefiting from the works of Dr. King. And so the fight continues. And while there is a lot of apathy, for the people on the front line who continue to fight for that change, it must continue. Even though sometimes some of us, even I call myself, yes, us, sometimes we might not be as vocal as we used to be, but we're still committed to the process. We're still committed to fighting. And I do feel that the opposition has gotten a major win in having people register with birth certificates and picture IDs. What we do with it, what the opposition does with that, is really up to them. Use it to their benefit right now. We know how things are in Dominica. It's not a matter of cheating, because we know the Labour Party has been out there giving people even passports on all taxpayers' money. So I do believe that nothing good comes easy, and it requires a tremendous amount of work. Kudos to people like Josh and you, Matt, who, oh God, you're so relentless. Such a good asset, to the fights, not just fight, but the fights that we continue to fight. And, if that helps, I hope it does. And blessed, and have a good day and a good weekend to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to take a call and we'll take a break, and of course, we'll come back to wrap it up. Hello, yes?
Yeah, good day, Matt and Mr. Francis. Good day.
Good day to you.
I have around 3 questions to put it in, Matt. I want to ask Mr. Francis a question. I can recall the Prime Minister said once, not too long ago, but he said that he renewed his visa for enabling him to go to America. But I have the tendency in believing that as long as you have a diplomatic passport, you will be able to travel to any country without visa. Is that right? Matt, no one is hearing me? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Repeat the question again. Repeat the question. Sorry about that.
Okay. What I was saying earlier on is that I can recall the Prime Minister said not too long ago that he renewed his visa for America.
Yes,
but knowing that he's the Prime Minister, he has a diplomatic passport. I would like to know if a person who has a diplomatic passport requires a visa on his passport to enable him to travel to any foreign country.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I think, yes.
So what? The passport is only to permit him what?
So you'll be given special. You have a special entry. So you're welcome by VIPs. You know, special persons, special escort. So
everybody
privileges.
Yes, hello.
Okay, Mister. I heard a lady call earlier on, and she said that she's hearing the same thing over and over again, and I believe partially she's correct. And I heard Mr. Packet call, and he asked a very important question. I believe the constitution that we have, it is outdated. It does not work for us. First of all, we have in the House of Assembly, the ayes have it. There should have some way and means to have, or I don't know if there's another committee in the House that is trial to deprive these people of having total power over the decision they may take. Now, the other thing I want to understand is more about reform. Is there going to have reforms? In search of, you heard he spoke about the village council. A civil servant cannot take part. Dual citizenship. Somebody lives in America, he has to give up his American citizenship to take part in politics in Dominica. Is all that not the person can be a skillful person? And if he does not win, he returns to America. But if he comes and he's a Dominican and he has his American passport, myself personally, I don't see that as a problem. So there are so many things we need to look at in this constituency we have.
Okay, constitution.
No constitution we have.
Okay.
So how many terms should a prime minister have to enable him to lead as prime minister? Is it 2 terms? No, is there too many constituencies for a small population? And all of these things we should ask. You know, is there also a type of level of security for the opposition leader similar to that of the prime minister? Because the opposition leader himself have people who hate him just as the people who don't like the prime minister. So I believe we have to arrive at a level that goes with our culture and our tradition. It's not to imitate the international, or maybe we have some rules we have to follow the international world. But I would more like to hear about the reforms in the future by any other political party. And I believe the time about talking about Kerrick now, that I think that is obsolete. Because everybody knows who he is, what he does, and even though it's alleged. But what I believe most people, especially somebody like me, is to hear more of the things that are going to give me the advantage to come back to my country and cannot be victimized because I have a different political opinion than yours. But because of you are in power, I am discriminated against. These are the things. Discrimination is there. A law that will punish the person in government who will discriminate against someone who doesn't have the same political opinion like them. These are the things I think we want to hear. There are many intelligent people in Dominica, and they're studying that. And that's why you find we have a lot of nurses and teachers going abroad, and they don't return. So we can't afford that the Prime Minister have a kind of a monopoly about anything. He's going to accept deportees. He wants to bring people from Gaza back in Dominica. Without anything, he went and signed a paper. I don't know if something has to do with homosexual activities. Without any information, anything from the people he serves. So these are the things I believe most people would like to hear. And what about Zavole? That is his business. If he loses, the party in power will see about that. But now I believe is to win, but is to propose the people who would like to see a change, the things that they would like to see happening.
All right, caller, thank you very much for your opinions here. We respect that. And let me read a message on Facebook. I suspect this one is definitely for Joshua Francis and other opposition politicians. Until the opposition or the opposing forces are visually united, no headway will be made. The opposing forces are too fragmented. We need unity. The sooner, the better. Joshua Francis.
Yeah, well, the opposition is united, and the opposition will take the appropriate steps at the appropriate time. For now, those who want to see that change should support the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
The opposition requires moral support, spiritual support, emotional support, and very importantly, financial support. whether you can support the
So
opposition
you don't
directly or indirectly.
you don't agree with the statement that the opposition is this is
Well, every family, in every family, you find dissent and you find some kind of disunity. But generally, the opposition, for the purpose of bringing change, I would say, is united.
Okay.
It can be better and will be better. I think that all opposition entity and all opposition forces will come together at the right time. And when I say come together, to strategize on the way forward.
Let me just ask you a question there, because we are sort of finally getting to the end of this program.
Yeah.
The stop order, of course, against the Dubash saga was, I see, making it viral. You went through this, Joshua?
Well, I went through part of the pages. There are 8 pages.
So it is in fact true.
Yeah,
there's a stop order.
Yes, my understanding is that certain stakeholders had a meeting with the chief physical planner yesterday, and hopefully somebody will be, or some of those persons will be on a radio program and to give the public a report or a feedback on what went down. But from having spoken to some of the persons who were at the meeting, I was told that what you see going around stop order in respect to Dubash is authentic. And I have a copy right here with me, and what I'm seeing here, date of issue of that stop order, December 1st. It addresses Montreal Management Consultants Development Limited, address Mont Daniel, Kinfield Estate, Commonwealth of Dominica. The authority hereby refers to the compliance notice issued to you on December 1st, 2025. Offense: A. The authority notes that on lands situated at Stonefield Concord, and I was told that Stonefield is the same Dubash area. A. You have deposited refuse or waste material. B. You have caused environmental damage and or affected the integrity of the environment. And C. You have threatened and or affected the health and safety of the public by 1. Dumping soil material in close proximity to the Pigua River, and 2. Commencing excavation works without first obtaining permission from the planning authority, contrary to section 17 of the Physical Planning Act, chapter 6305. And then you have B, remedy. By virtue of the stop order being served on you, you are hereby prohibited and directed to immediately cease and desist from carrying out or continuing this activity noted above, which constitute a breach of planning control or are so closely associated therewith as to constitute substantially the same activity. And of course, it goes on and on. It talks about penalty. It talks about section 40 of the Physical Planning Act, which says that you may appeal to the court within 28 days of the service of the stop order, and the court may confirm the stop order with or without modification. In keeping with section 40 of this act, you have no right to appeal to the appeals tribunal against the making of this order. An appeal against the compliance notice to which this order relates shall not suspend the operation of a stop order. So that's page 1, Matt. And of course, there are other pages. This one addressed to same Montreal Management Consultants Development, but the offense is different and the remedy is different. So let's just look at one of the remedies here. It says, cease all construction works immediately, and 2, await a decision on your application, reference number 731025 MMCs, Commonwealth for Dominica, whatever, prior to recommencement of any reconstruction occurring activities. So it would appear that MMC is submitting an application. I would think that's the application to recommence the work. But Matt, what we have here before us thus far is evidence that MMC went on to do a project at Dubash without planning approval. That's evidence of it. And it's only after the fact they submitted the application.
So what is going on right now? What is going on?
Well, that is the big question. And we're asking the authorities, we're asking the chief physical planner, we're asking the chairman of the planning authority, we're asking the Prime Minister of Dominica, and also the Minister of Planning to tell the public what is going on, because clearly there is a stop order. And unless that stop order is lifted, the activity at Dubash, as far as mining is concerned, ought not to be happening. Now, I'm not in a position to say that there is mining or excavation. What I'm aware of, because I was there physically, there's some kind of activity. I saw heavy equipments being stationed on the site. I don't know whether that would suggest that the planning division has given an undertaking that they're going to lift the stop order and work will recommence. We can speculate, but at the end of the day, it is factual that there is a stop order, and with the stop order, there's supposed to be all cessation of activity at Dubash.
Let me see if I can take a break and see if I can call, the protesters or those standing for Dubash was there. today. Let me see if I can get Mr. Nassi Fontaine on the line there before we go. I was unable to get Nancy, and of course, those who may be standing there for Dubash, but they were just confirmed. And of course, you heard I said that yesterday to Mr. Clarence Christian, who said there was no salt bother. You just heard it just a few minutes ago. Joshua Francis have a copy. I'm sure there are copies out there making the rounds. But Joshua Francis, you wanted to comment on something else?
Yeah, so one of the notices, Matt, it says here, you have committed a breach of planning control under the Physical Planning Act, Chapter 6305. In that, you have developed land within the prior grant of developmental permission required under Section 17, Part 4 of the Physical Planning Act, Chapter 6305. Particulars of development constituting the breach. The authority notes that on lands and properties situated at Stonefield, Concord, you have 1. Carried out, permitted, or caused to carry out the dumping of soil materials in close proximity to the Pigwa River. Now, what is the remedy? According to the Physical Planning Division, the remedy would be to remove all soil materials that was dumped in close proximity to the Pigwa River. Now, that compliance notice was issued on December 1st, 2025. The specified date, meaning taking effect from January 19th, 2026. And it goes on to talk about the default. If you fail to take the steps required to remedy the breach within the specified time, the authority may enter upon the land with assistance as may be necessary and take those steps to remedy the breach referred to in Section A of this notice as it sees fit. No matter, I can go on. The question is whether MMCE and or its agents have removed those deposits near the Pigwa River. Has there been compliance?
I have not seen it.
And maybe not. So not only we are concerned about the possibility of these agents pursuing the mining of Dubash in light of the stop order, but it appears they have not complied with the order of the planning division. Hence the reason why we're asking those questions. We need answers. We need the physical planners to come out there to tell us who deservingly need to know what's happening, because we have had enough of dark governance in Dominica. We have had enough of contracts being given to foreign entities that would not have the eyesight or the oversight of Parliament. We have had enough of all those projects taking place without knowledge as to the terms and conditions It's time that we make demands, and it's time that we get this government to get onto its knees and to respect the people of Dominica. Yeah, so Matt, there are other notices. Of course, like I said, there are 8 pages. There are different offenses. We can look at this one. The authority notes that on land situated at Stonefield Concord, you have deposited refuse or waste material. You have caused environmental damage and or affected the integrity of the environment. And you have threatened and or affected the health and safety of the public, as we mentioned. Now, of course, we are talking about the Pregua River siltation, and people were complaining about itching on their skins and not being able to use the river for traditional purposes as they know it. And of course, the remedy, the planning division provided how to remedy the situation, and should the offender, as in this case, MMC, fail to comply, then there will be penalties. I'm seeing that there are also correspondences to CR5 China Railway Company. That's a company with the contract to do the actual construction of the airport. And likewise, I'm seeing here particulars of development constituting the breach. The authority knows that on lands and properties situated at Stonefield Concord, you have 1, commenced construction of a quarry and crusher plant without first obtaining permission from the planning authority. That is consistent to what I said earlier, Matt. It is now factual that the excavation at Dubash commenced without planning approval. Now, the question is, how many projects have been undertaken in Dominica by this government without planning approval? That's the other big question. And I have undertaken a research to ascertain whether the cable car project obtained the approval of the planning division. And there are other projects, the marina, as we know it. It will be interesting to see how many times this government has breached the physical planning act of Dominica. As we say, we have had a government that has been very callous and has casually treated the law in Dominica. And that is very, very, very telling of a government, because a government is supposed to be the leader as far as complying with the laws. But it is really baffling that this government promotes Dominica, as in previous cases, previous governments have promoted Dominica as a nature island of the Caribbean, and yet has so little regard and respect for the environment, such that they are breaching the laws. So I say, Matt, further investigations have to take place.
What else can be done now that you've seen government, of course, like you said, breaking the laws?
Well, Matt, I have been in discussions with 1 or 2 lawyers who have had interest in pursuing this matter before a court of law, because if in the face of a stop order, Railway CR5 were to continue this project, clearly they would be abrogating the law, and we will need a court order this time around, not an order from just planning division. We will need a court order to cause that company to cease and desist from furtherance of the destruction of the environment at Dubash.
Let's take a phone call quickly. There's time is limited. Are you there, caller?
Yes, Matt, it's me again.
Please.
That's why good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
And be quick. We have to wrap it up. Yes.
That's why I just heard you went through a litany of things that the suspect that were built, and it's possible that there were no permit to build. I think there should be a retroactive penalty placed on the government, the companies, or whatever, but they should know that everything and anything that built in this country, as far as the environment and the people are concerned, there's a price to pay for it. So I would like to see them pay for that. I think you all should look into that, find out whether they were permitted to do it by the environmental task force and the planning. All right, I'm listening.
All right, Joshua, we have to wrap it up here. Time is of the essence.
Well, Matt, we didn't get much time this afternoon, but at some point
we will.
We have to explore dark governance in Dominica, because that's what we have had for the past 25 years. A government that has failed and or refused to be transparent and to promote integrity in governance. And we cannot continue like that, because what is at stake is the public purse, meaning the people's monies, the people's resources. Dominica belongs to all of us. And when we have a government that has been involved in citizenship by investment program and giving a contract to a foreigner and not telling us what are the terms of the contract, such that we have reasons to believe that the proceeds of sale from the citizenship program with this particular investor is being channeled to foreign accounts, without any parliamentary oversight, without any auditing, without any accounting. That is inexcusable. And I'm waiting to see what the High Court of the Commonwealth of Dominica decides in regards to that case that is before it, where certain information were demanded, disclosure of the agreement, and the question of whether the government of Dominica was right in giving a further option. We know that the regulations in respect to the CBI program speaks of two options: the economic diversification fund option and the real estate option. But with this government, we saw another option, a housing option, an option which allowed MMCE to get those sweetheart deals to sell as many passports as possible. And we have heard allegations that that company has been involved in selling those passports or citizenships at a lower price, undercutting other sellers and vendors of our citizenship. Just talking about vending our sovereignty, our passport, because for every passport you give, you're giving a piece of sovereignty to another person. And on that note, Matt, I have been very concerned about the future of Dominica as far as those citizens are concerned. We're supposed to have a cut-off limit. We have made money. The question of what we use the money for, whether we are satisfied with the use of CBI proceeds, of course, that is debatable. We can agree to disagree, but we cannot just keep selling citizenships. There are questions about whether this is viable. People tend to think that the sales have dropped considerably. Maybe it will heighten again, Matt, with this war in Iran. People will be looking for a safe haven. After all, Dominica is one of the safest places in the world.
As a matter of fact, I read an article this morning that now people are now Africa is taking over that market. They're selling their passports in Africa, so they're less interested in the Caribbean, and people are now heading to Africa.
Yeah, so we will explore that. We'll explore those topics. Let me just inform the public that the United Progressive Party will be having a Saturday program from 7 p.m.
So
on Saturday.
You might discuss a little more.
Yeah, well, yes, we will touch on this Dubash venture, and we will talk about other areas where we have concerns about the type of governance. How can this government keep giving sweetheart deals? Who are the people benefiting? Certainly not the people of Dominica, at least not significantly. Matt, even with the cable car, we need to see the contract. We will need to see what percentage does the government own in that venture. I think it's 15%, Matt. What are the terms? The marina, we need to know what are the terms and conditions of those contracts. We already would also like to see what arrangement the government had made with range development. So there are a lot of questions here.
All right, Dominica, this is where we're going to wrap it up for the afternoon. I'm sure we'll hear of more from this stop order sometime next week. We'll continue to listen, of course, and learn. This is Q95. Thank you.
Are you ready to talk about how we can help the vulnerable members of society, our children, the elderly, and differently able? Are you interested in small business, education, job creation, and the environment? Then it sounds like you're ready. You're ready for Let's Talk Progress, a new uplifting show on Q95 every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. hosted by United Progressive Party. Together for progress.
Today I never give up before, it's not in my blood.
Hey, Mr. Prime Minister, do you remember me? But I am a worker, not a worker. What's that I hear about this mining affair? Better take care, this could be a big blunder. Political thunder. What did you consider in your brain What does Dominica have to gain? Where in the world you ever hear a black nation ever prosper from any foreign-minded venture? You need to review Caribbean geography, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. This is all mining by foreign companies. We don't mind. We don't mind. We prefer if we live in poverty. We don't mind. We don't mind. We don't mind. It could be for silver. Even if we don't mind. It could be for gold. Even if we don't mind. It could be for copper. Even if we don't mind. It could be for oil. It don't spoil liver. It's not a crime, but we don't mind. In Guyana, they find gold and silver, oil in Trinidad, and bauxite in Jamaica. But people still bother with all their mining development. They still running to Dominica for employment. So use your good judgment. Natural beauty is our attraction. Tourism is our development plan. If all them big giant countries don't prosper from mining industries, what kind of scope is there for we? If a barrel full of gold is not enough, how much gold we wasted from a cup? We see no mining on public property. We don't mind. We don't mind. We prefer if we live in poverty. We don't mind. We don't mind. We don't mind. It could be for silver. Even if we don't mind. It could be for gold. Even if we don't mind. It could be for copper. Even if we don't mind. It could be for oil. It does spoil liver fall. It's not a crime, but we don't mind. We know times are hard and things are bad. We want progress, of course, but at a minimum. Legal lands untouched. So when it comes to mining, progress can wait. Don't get desperate and repeat. You did the mistake. Was too much at stake. Mountains and rivers will disappear. These mining businessmen, they don't live here. We've got to preserve our country. Don't make nothing make it jumpy. Don't worry with Mr. Abolado. This mining healthcare is a threat to natural life. Dominica with a small body butcher's knife. If there's no mining on public property, we don't mind. We don't mind. We prefer if we live in poverty. We don't mind. We don't mind. We don't mind. It could be for silver. Even if we don't mind. It could be for gold. Even if we don't mind. It could be for copper. Even if we don't mind. It could be for oil. It does spoil liver. It's not a crime, but we don't mind.
my. She was fat and juicy, man used to want to dive with she. She was full of life and energy. She wiggled with vitality. You could find her anywhere that to go. Now she's a sprinkle of rich just show. She looking mad. I hear they say she have Uganda. I took him as a ravens. They dying slowly. They trying and trying. And nobody don't want it. They chopping up a list. All in the forest. Now she dehydrated and looking in distress. All the champions at forestry are no longer there to protect she. Please help us, Father, and say a prayer because of the tree.